Hello, everyone. Warden Whitespire here to talk about who's in jail today. We've got some pretty interesting jails today, actually. It's going to be the first big test of how strong warlocks are after the changes, because I think what we're going to see is a much more inline warlocks now, especially since we're seeing Disruptor getting banned. That's a pretty major ban that they put in today. It's looking like if we look at the combination of Nyx Assassin and Slark today, that's going to be pretty much, I think, Assassin's dead. I think the full 6 Assassin build with these two missing is just not functional. I don't know, it's just not. I don't know. I don't see how this possibly works. Interestingly, with Slark, Tidehunter, and Viper banned out, that's actually a pretty big problem for Scaled as an alliance. Interestingly, that's pretty rare. Like, if we go look at Scaled and see what's left, because yeah, it's still, you can still build 4. 2 of them are locked up in the ace tier, and then these 3 are just gone. So basically, if you're running Scale today, and I think this mostly applies to warriors because of Slardar, if you're running Scale today, you have to run these 2, Venomancer and Slardar. So that'll be a tough call. I think you can run it, like, it's not the biggest deal in the world, especially if we're seeing mages today, and I think we will, because there are no mages banned today. Not a single one. No mages, no primordials, and only lifestealer. And I only mention that because I've been seeing mages, because of the change to Ogre Magi being a brute now, Ogre Magi can attach things like Axe in the early game, and swap it out for lifestealer, or even go 4 brutes. I've had a lot of success earlier today just throwing in 4 brutes against a huge assassin lobby, which was extremely effective because it was an assassin lobby. I don't think assassins are going to be super effective today, so maybe this ban doesn't even matter. Maybe lifestealer ban literally doesn't even matter, but we'll see. He was a pretty important brute, but there's other important brutes like Doom. Regardless, and so far I'm looking at this and I'm seeing warriors are still doing okay, even with the Tidehunter ban. They've got plenty of other lockdown. What was I saying? Mages doing great. Primordials are doing great. Knights are not. Knights have a pretty serious problem today, in the fact that they're missing their usual troll inclusion. I mean, Shadow Shaman wouldn't necessarily be your troll, but Dazzle is. So if you're going to run trolls today, I guess that just doesn't include healers. So you're probably just not running healers today. Because what you could do, potentially, would be Omni Knight, Warlock, and Enchantress? Like, it's not the worst thing, especially since you normally want to build into Warlocks, but there's also no payoff for the Warlocks. Like, I honestly think Knights are going to have some serious problems today. You can still build it, but you are lacking also Luna, one of your major damage dealers. So you're relying on CK and Abaddon? Maybe Dragon Knight? But I'm thinking about, like, in the mid-game, early game, before you've got your 2-star Dragon Knights, before you've got your 3-star CK, and hopefully 3-star Luna. But that's obviously not possible today. So the major builds that I'm seeing that are getting completely screwed are Assassins and Knights. Those are the 2 big ones. And that leaves room for warriors to a lesser degree, because I don't think Tidehunter is going to slow them down too much. Like, their usual build curve is the same as it always has been. Their 1-2-3 curve, totally unaffected. And they can always throw in a Venomancer if they really are getting screwed by mages. So that works. Warriors, mages are doing great. Primordials are doing great. Scrappy is doing great. Scrappy is doing awesome. Spirits are totally uncontested. And you'll notice 2 of those spirits totally functional. And Assassin Splash still totally works. So you could start with something like 3 mages, build into Storm Spirit. Maybe your actual alliance is 6 warriors, and you just sort of phase out the mages, bring in your Ember Spirit just for the Delta Strike, just to get those disables. Maybe throw in a Void Spirit later, so you can get more Delta Strikes, since Earth Spirit basically casts once, maybe twice in a fight. So he's really not super useful for Delta Strikes. But you could also replace him later, you know, potentially. I'm still not entirely sure how to use spirits, so I'm not totally comfortable recommending them. But from what I've seen and from what I've used so far, they're really good mid-game smashers. They're awesome at smashing in the mid-game, and they fall off later pretty hard. Unless you've got all 4 of them, and you've got at least one of them to 3-star. If you can do that, you're in a good spot. Warlocks, I think, are still doing fine. I don't think 6 Warlock is the build today. In fact, without Knights, I'm not even sure that... I'm not even sure 4-Lock is the build today. Maybe if you mix it in with Scrappy. Scrappies will always appreciate extra Warlock healing. So, potentially. There are ways to use Warlock today, but missing Disruptor is a problem. I think I've covered everything that this hits, at least directly. Brawny is still available. Savage is totally uncontested if you want to try Savage. Not my favorite build, but, you know, do what you think. Technically speaking, very technically speaking, you could run Assassin Insects today, but instead of the usual 8 slots, it's now a 9-slot build. So just understand, if you're going Assassins, not only are you going to be much slower without one of your 1 and 3 drops, you're going to have to build to a whole extra level. Just go into that understanding that. And I think that covers everything. So yeah, thanks guys. If you like this video, please leave a like and share, and I will see you tomorrow.